Home Affairs Minister Motsoaledi has clarified that no immigration laws were breached during the recent visit of United Arab Emirates President Sheikh Mohamed bin Zayed Al Nahyan and his family. The visit sparked a furore after the landing at Bulembu Airport in the Eastern Cape, along with an entourage that included guests from 32 countries. Motsoaledi spoke to SABC News editor Sophie Mokoena.
To try and compare this with the Guptas is being very wild, because the Guptas came here illegally as such. Because I was not in Home Affairs, but I tried to check the records. Home Affairs was not even there, which means there was no immigration services. Remember, Sophie, in every port of entry, there must be immigration services. There must be customs. That's SARS, if they are goods. And if they are not there, then you are sort of entering the country illegally. And that's exactly what happened with the Guptas. Remember that we don't have a permanent immigration services at Waterkloof Air Base. But if a head of state is coming there, we are informed through diplomatic channels, like in this case, so that we send immigration services there, because they are very important. You can't, once you enter a country without immigration services, that becomes illegal. And that's what could have happened with the Guptas. But with this trip, there was a communication, diplomatic communication, through DERCO right from the beginning, and each minister knew what they were supposed to do.
Minister, you spoke about some having visas because there's a requirement for those particular countries, and others not having visas because of the latest announcement in terms of visa waiver to certain countries. Can you take us through countries, even if you don't mention names, in terms of numbers, how many countries were compelled to have visas, those people coming from those countries, and the others who didn't have to present visas?
Let me put it this way for people to understand. The whole of Europe don't need visas when they come to South Africa. And if I'm not mistaken, there will be about 44 countries. The whole of North America don't need any visas to come to South Africa. If I'm not mistaken, there will be about 29 countries. In South America, I think those who don't need visas are about 11 countries. In the whole of SADC countries, they don't need visas to come to South Africa, our neighbors. On the African continent, the ones who have given visa-free, as I said, is Ghana, is Sao Tome and Principe, very recently, Kenya. But there were others who were visa-free before, and I'm not mentioning them because I don't have the list here. Now, the people who were accompanying the president of the UAE were coming from many countries around the world. 32 of them came from countries that need visas, and all of them were given visas. The rest were coming from UAE itself, which doesn't need a visa. They were coming from America, Canada, and Europe. And all of those don't need visas.
Minister, the issue of port of entry, it was a flight from UAE straight to the Eastern Cape.
That's what we know, because remember, that flight, because of its size, could easily land at OR Tambo. It could easily land at Cape Town International Airport. It could also land in Kinshasa. But in the Eastern Cape, there was no airport, ready-made airport where they could land. But they didn't want to land in all those international airports I've mentioned in other provinces because of the sheer logistics of what was going to happen if they landed there. The road logistics, it was going to be extremely difficult, if not impossible. So they wanted to land directly in the Eastern Cape, and we believe that's what they've done. If they went via any other airport outside South Africa, that I wouldn't really know.
The other thorny issue is declaring the goods, and if they did have foreign currency, what measures were taken to ensure that whatever they were bringing in the country these are goods that are allowed in the country, but also they are declared, because based on the information, clearly it was a big plane, almost like your cargo plane.
It wasn't one plane, if I'm not mistaken. It was many planes, many big planes. But remember that Home Affairs deals with human beings. And I can stand here in front of the country and inform that each and every human being in that plane, we can actually account for. Maybe let me take this opportunity, because I also had wild allegations that people landed here, we didn't know, etc. Maybe just to inform the country. Sophie, nobody flies into South Africa officially in a commercial aircraft or even in a private one without knowing who they are. And I want to inform the country, this was not always the case. It's a legacy of the World Cup that was here. You remember the whole country, world was coming here, and we were very scared what will happen. And remember, there was skepticism whether an African country can actually successfully hold the World Cup. Any small commotion or a thug coming in by mistake, our reputation was going to be in tatters. So Home Affairs established a system called APP, Advanced Passenger Processing System. When a plane is in London and they want to come here, while it's on the tarmac, they send us what they call a passenger manifest. That is a list of all the passengers who are in that plane. And we check them against our movement control system and other databases to see if there's no one flagged by Interpol or flagged by our own system. And if there is, we tell that aircraft not to come with that person. And they have to take them out. If they insist, when they arrive here, we charge them 25,000 rand per passenger. I'm not sure whether it's 25 or 15, one of the two, let me not lie. But we do charge them a lot of money per passenger who is coming here without our knowledge. Now, that airport did not have facilities for advanced passenger processing. But we asked them before they left to send us manually the list of all the passengers. And we knew them because we have given them visas or visa-free. And with that list, we checked against our systems, just like we do in the advanced passenger manifest system, processing system. We check them and realize that there's none we have got any problem with whatsoever. Now, coming to the issue of goods and cargoes, you are aware that that is the area of SARS. And there was a SARS official here who told you they were there. They were there. They were definitely called. And he said they checked everything, and he said there was no currency. I can't answer for them. I'm answering from what I heard them saying.